Fresh one what?
A very good evening to you all, ladies and gentlemen, live here from the Sports Arena. This is the last game of the day, and it is, of course, Nemo's second game of the season. They did win their first game comfortably. I do not know whether it's going to be the same because the opponents they are versing were the opponents of last season who beat them in a semi-final clash. Coach, how prepared are you for this particular one?
Yes, of course. When we come into the league, we come when we are prepared. You can't come to play and you're unprepared. So it would be a shortcoming from the coach's side to say that we are unprepared. So we have come to play and we see what the result will be at the end of that.
Before I come to this particular game, last season, your setter did let you down. Well, it's my observation, but your setter did let you down at a crucial time. How is your setter doing now?
Well, he's trying to get himself back. And I think by winning the national championship, I think his morale is back. And we hope he can still give us more. He's a senior setter, and of course, he has to get over it at the end of the day. Yeah.
And of course, last weekend you did have about, I think, 2 players or 3 who were not around. The setter himself was not around, and of course, a couple of other players. How did this impact you? And are they back now?
Yeah, they are definitely back, just like you're seeing them. Yes, they are.
So you have a full squad to choose from this time around.
I have to. Definitely.
Okay, I want to wish you success, and I hope to speak to you after the game.
It's okay.
And of course, now I have Onapa, an opposite player with KVC. Onapa, you did come so close last season to winning the league, but at least you succeeded in beating Nemo Stars. Are you still in that kind of vibe?
Yeah, we have the vibe. Much as we have just started the league, we are aiming higher, though our team is a bit disorganized a bit because we lost our key players, and we are trying to adapt to our new setters. They are also young players, high school players, but as a team, we are trying to coordinate with them to do something great for this season. Yeah.
Well, you have summarized everything I wanted to say, but just one last word. How prepared are you for this particular team that you're going to play? They are your usual opponents.
I can say we are prepared. Much as we didn't have enough time to train with our setters and some other players, we are trying to fix them so that they can coordinate with other players. Yeah.
I want to wish you success and hope we speak after the game.
Good afternoon. We are live on the Sporters Volleyball page. Ugandan Volleyball Federation Serie A match Nemo Stars versus Kavc. Expecting quite a lot of things from this game with the history that both these two teams have. Shortly, we are going to be bringing you the lineups. I'm here today with Shamira.
Yeah, it's a lovely evening, and as you all know, I enjoy to be here with Coach Memory, and I think we are going to have such a lovely game here between KVC and Nemo, and it's the last game of the day that we are having here. So we are hoping to have such a wonderful evening with you guys who are out there watching. So we are going to start up this first set, but I allow me to remind you that the last encounter between Nemo versus KVC went to the side of KVC, as KVC went on to the finals, the league finals, and were runners-up after beating Nemo in two straight games, both games ending 3-2, 3-2. It was a wonderful matches. I think KVC really enjoyed those ones, but I think Nemo will not underestimate KVC as they come into this game today. Yeah, and I think KVC is also going to come in when they are ready. They know the opponent they are facing is a bit I don't want to say angry, or they are feeling like they need to prove something because of what happened last season, and the fact that they are now the defending champions, or the champions of the national club champs. I think that also pushes them to win. But as we talked to Onapa, you saw what Onapa was talking about.
Oh yes, definitely. So this afternoon, Onapa, one of the key players, the opposite for KVC, just highlighted that they will really try to push. They will really try to keep or set rather the standards that they've always shown when they play Nemo. He mentioned something interesting, Shamira. He spoke about them losing their key setters. He spoke about them losing some of the players, and he spoke about having high school players coming in that they will really need to support. And by that, I suppose from the lineup we can see he was talking about their new setter who's called Eddie, who we can see starting for Martin there. Shamira, do you know what has happened to Martin? Do you know if we're going to see him this season? As we've already clearly heard from Onapa as a hint that Martin is not around, and I'm not aware if there's anything that I've heard. I haven't heard anything. What about you? Have you heard? Has he moved or something?
No, I have actually not heard anything about Martin. But I'm actually surprised that he's not present for this weekend. I was expecting to see him, especially KVC going up against a team like Nemo. I was hoping to see them with their setter, with that experience, bringing in all their experienced players to be here. But I can see now they're having the youngster Eddie. Hopefully we have to just wait and see what he can do for his team, because he's trying to get that experience, and being a youngster going up against players like George and Redman, and you see Nemo has fielded their best players, their most experienced players, so
Oh,
it's
yes,
going to be a
definitely.
challenge.
Definitely, I'm seeing that as well. I'm seeing that Nemo has actually fielded their best teams. They even has received from the starting lineup, the receiver attackers, and it looks like Nemo does want to go all in terms of this game. You can see they've fielded Wanderer, who we haven't seen starting in a while. We've seen Esau starting, and then the other week we saw Derek starting, but today they've gone back. They're like, you know what, we will have our big guys starting this game. What do
Yes.
you take of that?
I think they want to use that experience. They want to use the experienced players to play against KVC. And I think they want to also take advantage of the fact that KVC is not having some of their very crucial players, like we have mentioned, Martin. But I'll mention something. You can see that Smith has not started this game for Nemo. And even the previous weekend, we did not see him being fielded against KCCA when Nemo went against KCCA. But earlier on, the coach talked about how Smith is pushing himself after winning the national club championships, and the coach hopes to actually use him more as we go on in time. But at the moment, we see that he's relying so much on JB.
I see that as well, and I think it was a boost actually for Smith to get to win and lift the NCC, considering the way things ended last year with KVC, and it felt like he was under pressure as a setter for not managing to finish that game where they were leading comfortable but didn't manage to win that one. But looking at the game now, we can see that the KVC young setter is making a statement there by playing his fellow counterpart, who's a young man as well, in the middle there, scoring that first point. However, I'm worried about where that position of the attack went. It seemed like it was right in the middle, and you would want to have your middles avoiding hitting in the middle like that.
And I think KVC wants to get the middles going so that when they start using their outside, they can give their outside attackers a chance to go against one block. And especially having Redman there in the middle for Nemo. And I think they are looking to maximize that opportunity, let the middle start moving and give the outside a chance. So that is why maybe Eddie is starting off with Christopher to let Nemo stars know that the middle is actually going to be moving.
Yes, and you can see even the service there, they're really starting with that strong service there to make those statements, making it easy for them to score there. We see Onapa getting that swing and creating an opportunity for the blockers to block. Looks like a slow start for me from the Nemo side. What do you think?
I think it's quite a slow start, and you can see it's now an ace service, a good serve from, is that Joel Endra? I think Endra is on the court, by the way. We did not see him against Sport S.
Oh, yes.
Starting against Sport
yes.
S. Yes, he came in, but we can see him here. I think that is also an element of maturity and experience that Kevc is trying to field in. And he has made an S service, and we may see him going back to serve.
Yes, right now, Nemo seem to be really not having like a solution, even in the first beginning moments. But naturally, when you play players that you are not used to their style of play, you seem to struggle. So it might mean that they didn't scout the KVC young middles well. They didn't scout the setter. How does he set very well? And that is putting them slightly off position. And we see the first time out, they're being taken by Nemo Stars 6-2. Do you think KVC will take the set? What do you think will happen?
I think
what are your predictions?
I'm going to speak best of experience, not experience in playing, but experience in watching KVC playing, especially their first game against Sportes. They would take the lead and then lose it later on in the most crucial points because of unforced errors from themselves. So I want to see how much they've minimized their errors today. and how much they are going to actually push themselves to maintain their lead till the end of the set.
I agree with you there. I'm also, every time I'm watching KBC, I feel so nervous, especially when they have a lead. I'm like, can they really go for it? Are they ready to go all the way for it? But we see Ongom there having his favorite swing one-on-one, and we know he'll definitely go to that one position with that left hand. And let's see if that can set Nemo going, as they've been really looking like they're having a slow start there.
Yes, and I think most cases attackers tend to protect the line when they are blocking, especially when they are blocking the opposite player. But I feel for a left-handed player and having your libero back there, it would be better to protect the diagonal because it's the bigger side, and let your libero handle
the line.
The line.
I agree. I quite agree with you. And we saw the first error, like we said, there's too many errors. We saw the first error from Ayo there, but Onapa coming to redeem the team on that side out, just using a dump.
Yes.
Onapa looks like, sometimes it looks like he's matured. Sometimes it looks like he's gone back to those errors at the end, but we see how it goes today. But speaking on the side of Nemo, I saw today the young man Esau, who last week missed that encounter, is back today. So we live to see what he's going to offer for his team. When he gets the time to get in, he might not get the time, he might get the time.
Yes, and I think the fact that he was not actually around for the previous week, and Nemo having to go up against KVC, we can see that Wandera has been started over Derek, who played instead of Esau last weekend. They are trying to play, because Derek is a young player, very young, so I feel they've sidelined him again for this game to choose Wandera, because they need experienced players in this game. And
KVC has probably become a big threat for them. I mean, I'm just saying, or maybe they're thinking, let's just go all the way out. But at times there could be other reasons, like maybe where people have been training, who has been training better. And we see there the young man Bernard giving that simple block. I feel like he was apologetic there. If he had killed that ball down, Ongom wouldn't have had that opportunity to score from that transition.
I think he waited so much. He waited too much to jump, and by the time he jumps, you can see that Ongom has already gone through. Yeah. But so far so good for Onapa. We can see he has had a good start. He has scored, I would say, 90% of the sets they've given him so far in these 10 points. And we have not seen errors. I've only seen one error from Joel Endra.
And from Ayo, two errors.
From Ayo, 2 errors. I've not seen that much errors. And KVC is serving very hard today, serving harder than they served, as we saw against Sportes. If you remember that game, they lost so many services. Even Innocent Ayo, who is one of their best servers, was unable to deliver on the service. But as we can see here today, he is trying to deliver. And as we can see as well, the setter is setting him up there on the backcourt. So they are going to try and play around with the blockers of Nemo to make sure that the blockers are not comfortable.
Yep.
To know that there's a backcourt, there's the middle, there's out.
I did see what you're talking about. I did see that pipe play that Ayo played previously before George had that good spike down ball. I did see what you're talking about. But yeah, you also want them, while they're doing that, to get their blocks ready for people like George, who are really skilled in that aspect, and they can go hard. And we have the KVC young men there getting all the confidence to get that ball to spike time as well. Yeah. And the scores are 12-7 to KVC in the lead. I'm still not seeing quite a lot with Nemo. It looks like they're still settling. It looks like, I'm not sure, maybe we might not be concentrating on their side, but let's watch Nemo and probably see. That's good defense there from Kasuja from that middle. And that's another error.
An error
from Ayo.
An error from Ayo.
Yes, which is his second error right now. So I feel like if Nemo know, they have to do less, because KVC will always make those errors. But we've also seen that KVC are trying to pressurize George. Let's see if George can withstand the pressure. Good service.
But if you can see the movement of Nemo stars, George is moving on the front row, and he is moving with the setter. So we shall see George will be used so much there, because the setter is a bit not very tall, and the block will not be as high as you'd think.
Yes,
So
yes, yeah. But Nemo Stars are also looking like they've adjusted. I feel like this season, the few games I've seen them play, I haven't seen them play the sets that they normally play when they're playing Smith, which could be something interesting for this season, even when they choose to play those quick high sets. So JB has come in and has given a difference in the kind of style, the style of play for Nemo Stars. Look at that moving ball there, and Bernard is right there on the ball.
yes, and I think that's the first ball that we are seeing Redman attacking, because there's been service pressure from KVC on Nemo, and it has been forcing the setter to set the backcourt and the
Yeah.
ball in two
Yes.
for Ngom, and then also to set the ball in for the power attackers. But now, if he can get Redman going, it's going to be a very tough play for KVC,
KVC.
because Redman is an aggressive middle player, and he will block and still come back and attack. But a good play there from the setter and the attacker, good connection.
Oh yes, that was good
Yes.
connection. He created that opportunity because it looks like also Nemo is saying we don't want to let Ayo loose. It's like they are already saying we know we can. Endra doesn't have the kind of height, but their threat is Ayo, and hence I feel like that's why Ayo now already has a lot of errors.
Earlier we talked about Smith, and I see here a comment on YouTube from Caroline. She says Smith is about to retire.
It could be true, but I think he will have accolades to retire and go home with. I mean, he's the NCC champion. His team are currently on fire, but there's a monster block from KVC there, the young middles.
The young middle.
Yes.
From the young middle.
Another block there, yeah, though it's a continuous.
Yes. But Hongom goes very high on the hands there, and the block is unable to shut him down.
There was actually a swing, so if he had stayed with his hands penetrating, he could have blocked that. He could have blocked that ball, but he was swinging his hands during that action there, which is what middles need to fix. But the score, KVC is still leading. Nemo has 12 and KVC has 15.
And I need us to look closely at these points where we have reached and see how KVC's type of play is going to change, as well as Nemo, because now we have seen that is the third error from Ayo.
It's actually the fifth error.
The fifth.
Yes, there's a time when you were talking and I was trying to call you to say, look at Ayo. So I do feel like Ayo is under pressure, and the coaches may need to realize that. And Nemo are playing a very good game because they are really pressuring Ayo.
Yes, and I feel like he's a risk taker on the attack. So most times he wants to go as hard as he can, but then he ends up attacking on the belt, and the blocks are high. I feel he should try to go higher and send the ball far behind, rather than to look for the closer part of the court.
Yes, the blocks are very, very high. That's an on system, and it goes again to Ongom, and they pick it up, and it goes to Onapa. Can Onapa make something out of it? And he does it.
Yes.
So I'm impressed. Onapa always starts well. That's why I always have, when I'm here, I've always commented that I feel like it's the setters who let down Onapa. If someone has started well, give others the chance to finish the game.
Yes, and sometimes they want to push him to finish the game for them. And as we talked the previous game, we said that he is not the best finisher of the set. He will take you to where you want to be, but I feel like in those moments you need a player to just give you that 1 point, and sometimes it's not Onapa to do that for you.
Yes, definitely. Yes. As compared to if we compare him in position wise with Ongom,
Yes.
Ongom, you can literally trust him even in those finishing moments.
Yes.
You know, so it takes that experience, it takes that mental, knowing your teammates' mental strength as well. A substitution there, Tizo coming in. Definitely Tizo is coming in to serve probably and receive. What do you think?
Yes, I think that is why he's coming on, because Tizo is a very smart player and a good server as well. So let's see what he can do.
Let's see what he can do.
Yes.
Yep.
And he sends that ball to the libero.
which I think is the wrong idea, and George easily scores that one. I've seen KP really going for the pipe quite a lot lately, even the
Yes.
previous games. Do you think it's a weapon that they're like, you know what, let's give it to him? This guy is still as young.
I think they are trying to get options, and the fact that he is playing with Wandera
Yes.
right
Oh,
now,
yes.
they are trying to use him more because he's the go-to receiver attacker. And even if he plays with Esau or Derek, he is the experienced player, the mature player, so the setter will trust him more than these other players. So he will look for him behind, in front. I think that's why they're trying to use him more, so that even him, he knows that he's that engine that the team is looking for.
I agree. And the minute you get the captain in the game, obviously everyone will start to believe. We see an error there from Onapa. The errors
Service error.
right in the 19, where they are leading and they are almost getting towards the highway. Let's see if history will repeat itself. By history, I mean for at the moment, KVC getting those errors at this point. But also let's see what Nemo can get out. Like I said, for me, I feel like they are having a slow start. Endra is defended there, and it goes to George. And he's blocked.
He's shut down by Bernard there in the middle. Very good play there from Bernard.
I almost missed that. Look at that
and
side
I
step.
had mentioned he's moving with the setter. I don't know why he did not. Maybe the set was not good enough for him to take advantage of the setter's block. He had to go cross court and found Bernard's hands there. But you can see the effort the setter is trying to put in on that block, trying to go as low as he can to get that jump and put up at least a good hit on the block. I was going to mention, KVC has only one service error in this set so far.
Wow.
It is one.
Wow, well done for keeping those stats, Shamira. Well done. Which could be the difference, because we are always up here and complaining about KV's errors. But today, and also the other errors, to me, it looks like they've come from one player who I feel like is under pressure.
Yes.
So they might be onto something. Meanwhile, Nemo, I still feel like they're firing from two guns, George and Ongom. The service pressure is coming in from KVC.
Yes, and for Ongom, he's doing well on attack and maybe trying to play on the block. But as Caro is saying on the comments, he has lost his services, and we had to take note of that.
Thanks, Carol, for telling us that. And I also do feel like when I look at the Nemo faces, they look a bit timid. It seems to me as if the season games last year, the playoff games, is still in their heads. I don't know what you think, Shamira, or what you are saying.
I feel they are still I don't want to say traumatized, because that is a very strong word. I want to say maybe they are not, you may not underestimate a team, but then you may get to that point where you're over cautious. You're over cautious and you fail to play what you're supposed to play. So they are not going as hard as you want them to go. But Redman shuts down Ayo there. I feel like Ayo has given us just about 3 points.
Ayo also seems like to be lacking confidence.
Yes, and that is why I feel maybe the coach needs to see how to sort that out, because he has that player, shot number 12, Smith Rukundo. Sometimes I feel Smith knows how to score, and maybe if Ayo is struggling a bit, you can bring in Smith and see what he can do for you.
That's true. That's true. You will have players that will be underestimated most of the times, that will be out there in the bench, and then they can give you something. Meanwhile, the score is 18-21. We live to see if KVC is going to be able to wrap it up, but it looks like it has been so easy for them to get those points. But JB seems to have come in and really set, okay, he was in, but he's now setting way better. He's serving way better to cause that upset, and Onapa scores.
Yes, good set there. I think we really, I wouldn't say underestimated. I think we really somehow wanted to see what the young setter can do, and I think we are seeing he's trying to do well, because he's taking the block and having Onapa have one block, having his outside attackers stay with one block, and yet at the moment he hasn't given, in the last 5 points, he hasn't given a ball in the middle, but the attackers are still having 1-1 block outside. That shows that maybe Redman is committing there in the middle to block. Redman and his counterparts are committing in the middle on Christopher and Bernard.
Yes, for me, that's the kind of experience that we're talking about. To say JB is off the 2.5 setting position, and he literally sees that, you know what, this setter has this middle blocker has stayed. So what am I going to do? I'm going to give my ball right to George there so that he can finish. And you saw it, how easy it was for George. But we do get blocks. KVC seem to be doing so well today in blocks. And the idea that they've got a young setter, I feel, is working for them right now, because he doesn't know no Onapa when it comes to finishing the game. He's still distributing the ball either way, and we can see them, their points keep coming there. However, there's a service error to give Nemo that lead to the 20s.
Yes, and it's 20-23. Nemo has 20, KVC has 23. But these are the points where you have to watch out for KVC and see, and also watch out for Nemo, because Smith has come on
to serve.
Yes, and you see that they've kept JB on court. I think Smith has come on. I would say he had come on for service, because I don't think he was brought on for defense or anything of that sort, because he has come in a middle player position. So
Onapa having that clever dump there to take them to give them 4 set points. Let's see if they can come in. For me, it's still the same thing that I spoke about, that Nemo is looking... I'm now not sure, like you, Shamira, are they intimidated? Are they tired? They're not really giving us that kind of... The games that we've seen them playing from NCC to last week's game, they haven't given us that. So I'm still yet to see that. And looks like Smith is going to stay and Esau is going to come in. Those are high blocks there, with Wendera only being the short man block, and opportunity for a side out, and set rep up by KVC, and defense there.
That's a good pick there from George. But it's a block out, and KVC takes the first set here. I think sometimes history repeating itself is, I would give it a 50% chance of history repeating itself.
I think I'm still scared. I mean, obviously, because I've got relations with KVC, you understand what I'm talking about.
Yes.
But we've seen quite a good set from there. We've seen that error elimination there, where we're saying Ayo might need to be the one that to watch out. But we need to see Nemo passing more effectively. I would say, if you're to ask me what you think killed Nemo, Nemo is not really passing well, but we need to see a Nemo that is confident of what they're doing. Nemo looks like they're not sure. Nemo looks like they didn't prepare well. We only have, for now, I'm now left with saying it's only Ongom who looks like he's ready for this game.
Yes, and there was a lot of service pressure from KVC compared to what Nemo has done, and that has limited Nemo's use in the middle.
Definitely.
But for men's games, surely sometimes you're able to set that ball in the middle, but the setter wants to go to Redman more than to Willington. So I feel he needs to use both his center players. They both need to move and work. And I think Nemo needs to concentrate on their service and see how to counter KVC and make sure that maybe Onapa is not attacking as much as he has been attacking in the first set. And they need to find a solution for that and force the setter to use his other attackers more than using Onapa, because Onapa is making the biggest number of points. And I'll mention that in this first set, compared to the previous games that we've seen of KVC, where they would lose like about 8-7 services in a set, this set they've lost 3 services in this set, but Nemo had a few service errors from Ongom, but the rest of the servers were quite okay. But I think their blocking has not worked for them yet.
The blocking has not worked for Nemo yet. I agree with that. We had Endra swinging on those hands. We had Onapa swinging there. We even had the setter swinging at some point in time. So Nemo is also one team that we know they are really very strong in terms of their blocks, but we haven't seen those blocks. We haven't seen a lot of the the Nemo that we're used to today. So I'm wondering, if I were the coach, I would probably try and start Smith again so that they get back to their Nemo kind of momentum and they begin from there. But we'll see if the coach decides to keep that. But we also have Wendera, who I thought the setter was not setting for at all. The setter was setting either for George if it's off system or for Ongom, meaning you're making it easier for the opponent.
Yes, and let's see if there will be any changes for both teams. Will there be any changes? No changes for Team Nemo and no changes for Team KVC. They are both going with the same lineup they had in the first set. But I want to see what Nemo can do to improve their play so that we can see the Nemo that we know, the Nemo that we saw last weekend against KCCA.
Yep, we're out here looking for that fun game, for those moments. I don't know if it's the right word, you know. Yeah, someone called Arsenal Kingdom. I think I know who Arsenal Kingdom is. It says, "I love the accent," but let me pronounce it properly. He's saying, "I love the accent." Good work. That's my Southern African accent. Yeah, there's been a debate all over the world about accents, but here in volleyball, we say as long as you can understand our commentary, we're good to go. Back to set two.
That is what matters. Oh, Redman had come in so hard in the middle.
I think he had scored.
Yes, he had scored. Just a little bit of that interruption from the ball. And KVC will get a chance to serve again.
We forgot to talk about the men on the sidelines for KVC, who's also wearing a kit there. His name is Charles Nabamba. I think he's doubling up as the player coach, who we've seen in the past playing for KVC B in Serie C.
I think they're looking to just make up the numbers there and see what they can do.
We have a save error there from George. He's trying to really look for George Andrade, for Joel Andrade, but doesn't find him and takes KVC to 1-1 in scores.
Yeah.
I'm actually so happy for the young man Bernard, who was playing in KVCB and now he's managed to get a slot. So it's actually not a good thing when the adult players leave.
Yes, I would like to know, the KVC had a middle player. He used to put on like white. I don't know if you understand, if you know who it could be. He used to put on white arm sleeves, and I can't quite remember the name.
Is that jersey number 17, Ronnie Odiek?
Yes, that is the name, Ronnie Odiek.
Ronnie Odiek, when I asked about him, I heard that he is at the moment really tied with work commitments.
Also, he's unable to make it. I think if he was also here, he would be a good addition to the middle. Although the youngsters that are there now are doing well, but he would be a good addition for them as well, because he was part of the team that did well last season.
I agree.
Yes,
I agree. There's really definitely something that he brings into the team.
Yes, and also Dani as well. I don't see Dani. So you can see there's a lot of players missing there for KVC.
So
Onapa last
right.
season. Yes. So they're trying to adjust and get used to that gap that is there. But Nemo seems to be fired up in this set. You can see now it is 4 points for Nemo and 1 for KVC. But they're still struggling a little bit there with Onapa. But at least you can see now the attackers are coming in. We saw Redman going in. We saw Ongom. We are yet to see George. But Wandera...
I'm yet to see Wandera. I really...
You're yet
in my heart right now, I'm screaming to the setter to say, did he just come to pass today? Are you going to give him something to do? But the tables have turned...
and that's a service error there from the setter, Eddie, for KVC.
Nemo leads 5-2 in this set.
Yes. And that's an ace service. Ace service from Ongom.
I think it's frustrating at times when that ball goes direct to the libero and the libero leaves that ball. I mean, you'd expect that maybe you might want to know where you are, because he looks like he's on the 6th meter there. So for him to duck on that ball, but that's an ace, and let's see what happens next.
The ball is actually on the line.
Ball is on court. Yes,
it
is on the line.
That's a good replay there from as we can see. It's
And-
another block there.
And finally, Nemo gets a block. They blocked Onapa. That ball also seemed to be very, very inside the court instead of going to 4. So it really didn't give him an option. It's either he was getting it back for them to recycle, but Nemo looking focused right now. And the score is
and I can
7-2.
see, and I can see that in this set so far, Nemo has made two good blocks from them. But that's another service error from Nemo.
The momentum in this game it seems to be shifting to one side and then to the other side. We're not really seeing a point in time where both teams are fighting like so hard. We're just seeing, like right now, we're seeing Nemo is now getting it back.
Yes, and again the setter chooses to go to the captain, George, on the attack there, and does not send that ball to Wandera. But I feel Wandera could actually give him that point. I feel if he could get Wandera to start moving, that would make Onapa alert. And I'm going to say this, Onapa is not like the very best blocker that you may have, but I think Wandera could take a chance.
He could take a chance because that's why you have him on court. That's why we make these systems to say we want one setter so that we have 4 attackers and then we have the libero there. So really, Wandera is needed in terms of that attack. I mean, no one would come to just be there and be defending and passing. They can only do it for so long. But anyway, in this set, it seems like it's working for Nemo because they are leading 8-5 with another side-out attack there from Ayo coming on the side of the court, on the right side of the court there.
Yes, and there was a service error there from Ayo. So I would like to see what the next server for KVC, Christopher, is going to do. Will he be able to put that ball on? Because KVC already has 2 service errors as well as Nemo. But Nemo is having the lead here. A good play from Endra on the block. But it's an empty net for Ongom behind there, and he's on the backcourt. You can see Endra runs in to go and join in on the middle, and I think JB sees him and decides to send the ball back, and there's no way you can go back behind there to actually jump on the backcourt.
Yes, Endra had gone there to try and stop that pipe that he thought was coming, but it didn't come along, hence leaving the net for Ongom. Another service error. Nemo in this set seems like to be getting a lot of those service errors there. However, they are still leading comfortably. It should be 9-6 right now on the scores, but I worry about those service errors.
But I'll tell you, Nemo has 3 service errors already in this set, and you can see the scores for KVC Nemo. Surely they have made 3 points on the 6 that KVC has at the moment. 3 unforced errors on the service, and there's a net touch there from George and Redman on that block.
Onapa does look like he's really psyched up for this game, by the way.
Yes, even as he was mentioning earlier on the interview, you could see that he believes in his team. Despite the struggles they are having, he believes that they can push through and put up a good fight and even win the game. Smart play from the youngster, Eddie.
This young man seems to be impressing me. I don't know how many other people he's impressing out there, but
yes,
he's really impressing me. But the other thing, Shamira, that I've just noticed that we might have overlooked that KVC has done well, they are putting Brian out of the equation in everything. So Brian, they're not attacking to his side, they're not serving to his side, making a big difference, because the minute you stabilize Brian, you've actually started fire in terms of the good passes that he's going to send to his setters.
Yes, they've decided to sideline him and keep him only on the defense. But as you can see, he has not made many digs, as we have seen. Good play there from George, takes advantage of the setter, Eddie.
Unfortunately, it looks like it hit the antenna.
Yes, but let's see.
Highest block for Nemo right now in front. All the experience that you can need. Can Onapa cross? No,
he's shut down, and that is the 3rd block of the match for Nemo Stars. But it's the 2nd block against Onapa in the whole match. The 3rd block of the set, but the 2nd block against Onapa in the whole match.
In the whole
set 1 and set 2, because in the first set they did not shut him down at all. he scored, I'm going to say 90%. I'm not going to say 100%. He
Good
scored
job there
90%.
with the stats. I'm impressed with you. I'm impressed with you doing commentary and keeping the stats. Well done, girl. You'd also want to note that most of the times, the minute they start to block on upper, it means KVC definitely has limited options in terms of attack, because we've seen that Ayo is struggling a bit today, and yeah, the pressure keeps going in terms of the service to George there, and they give it to Onap on that side out, and he sends the ball out.
Yes, and that is the first error that we are seeing from him. Or it's the second error, because in the first set as well, he had one attack outside. But you see, the setter in this game is trying to phase out Innocent a little bit on the attack, on the setting. He's trying to give him less balls than he gave him in the first set. He's trying to now go so much to Onapa. He's giving him less and less, and that's another error from him. So the setter is trying to give him just a few balls, but then again, Kavc is not as advantaged as Nemo, where you would say that maybe they would give Joel and Dra the backcourt and maybe save Innocent a bit, just like for Nemo, where they would give George that backcourt and maybe not set for Wandera. So Nemo, Kavc is not advantaged on that aspect.
Oh yes, it does. It's not like they have a pipe. So if he doesn't give Ayo and it's an off-system ball, it means he has to give Onapa. But Nemo Stars should be clever enough, and they have shown that they are clever enough. They've noticed that right now, and they're now really going to block Onapa. And Ayo is generally having a bad day. Even
Yes.
without him being blocked, he's having a lot of errors. But I'm also worried now about the KVC libero. How do you make the same error several times? He's just been aced. You are on the 6-meter line and you keep ducking for the balls. It's your responsibility to receive. But also, it means there must be pressure coming in from Nemo right now, and the score is 15-9.
Yes, and you can see the service from George is very good. I'm not sure if that ball actually went over, but the referee thinks there's a block touch set to Ongom, and he goes cross-court. There is nobody home for KVC. Goes almost above Eddie's head there, and Onapa is a little bit far. I think Nemo, what is giving them the advantage here to have 16 points and KVC to have 9 is that they've improved their service pressure despite the few service errors that we have seen, but they've improved their service pressure on KVC, and now they're forcing the setter to actually give Ayo balls, despite the setter trying to consistently force them. But we also know that if Onapa is overstrained and doesn't have another person to help him in the scoring, we are going to see him starting to make errors as well.
That's so true. And in that regard, while KVC are trying to correct certain things, they are also while Nemo are giving that service pressure, they are also having that room now to do what they want. They're having that room now to run the systems, to run the middle ball. So they are now on a comfortable spot because of that service pressure and the blocks that they're coming. And KVC has even forgotten their service pressure.
Yes, and that is the first set to Wandera, but I think it's not as good as maybe he would want it. Or should we say he did not expect it?
I think
come
he
to
didn't
him.
expect it. Like, you
Yes.
haven't given me this whole time, and now you're giving me, because there was 1v1 block there.
Yes.
But sadly with setters, that could be hello and bye, meaning you got it, you didn't make anything of it. So I might not be giving you. Somebody is saying to you, good job on stats there. I could use them in the future when we have to pick best players to honor them at the end of the season.
I think actually we are going to get more serious on the statistics thing. We are just trying to build it up and see what we can do, and try to always have the statistics for the teams there as they play.
In this era, we definitely need statistics. We
Yes.
can't do without statistics. We'll just be fooling ourselves if, as a nation, we're thinking we're doing something, we're improving. How do we see how our improvements? How do we get back to the court, to the training ground and train if we don't have statistics? So I do hope coaches out there have statistics, but as a country, we also need.
Yes,
The young man.
to Onapa.
The young man was trying to run middle there, but it didn't work out, and he goes to Onapa and he scores.
Onapa comes in hard, and you can see he goes almost above Wandera's block there, and it's a good set from Eddie. and despite trying to come and join, Wellington is unable to close that gap for Nemo Stars.
Wellington is one player who's been quiet as well today. Are you noticing that?
Yes, the setter has not used him a lot.
Could
You
it be
might say almost. He has received almost no ball for attacking in the middle. We have not seen him playing. But we can see Christopher, as soon as I mention it and Wellington gets that ball and he scores on it. And Nemo is just 6 points, 7 points. They just need 7 points to take victory here. But KVC is looking to catch up. They need 5 points.
It's like they've got chips somewhere there where they can hear us when we say they are not doing something and then they correct him. We see a pass error there taking the Nemo to another lead. I do feel like there's a bit of low performance from the KVC receiver attackers, both Endra and Ayo. Having Matthew and Tizo on the bench, I don't understand how you can keep them for so long, because Onapa is doing a great deal of a job. The blockers are doing great deal of a job there, and that ball is out, as we can see from the replay. So I hope the coach is noticing where the error is basically on his team.
But I also feel that in this moment, I think they need to give Tizo a try. Yeah, but Onapa just goes very hard to George on that one, and the fans enjoy that one so much. Very good
Spike
attack
Town.
there from him. Yeah, it goes to Spike Town. But George is there. Credit to him to stay in position and face that attack head on. Really, we have to credit some of those things sometimes.
There goes Ayo Shamira with another error. I feel like I am going to start coaching Ayo from the commentary box. But yeah, that's another error which really is not helping KVC, but giving Nemo that good lead there. We've seen them this set. They've been so comfortable, even with reduced attackers, because Wandera is not being given balls. We've seen Nemo really going up and serving well, and they've gotten themselves a break point there. 21-15 is the score.
Yes, and you can see Nathan Nathan Among says in the comments that, oh dear, Ayo has potential. Does KVC have therapists among the coaching staff? I don't know what he's trying to say there. I think maybe he's trying to inform us that maybe Ayo needs that mental support. Maybe he's struggling a little bit with this game psychologically and not maybe physically. But maybe they have.
At the moment, he's on court, so he needs to be able to focus. But his teammates also need to encourage him. Not only his teammates, the coaches need to encourage him there. And Tizo has come in again on the service box, and he has come in for Christopher. I feel Christopher has actually crossed his services. It's Ayo who I would say at the moment may need a substitution for service.
Actually, maybe it would be better to bring in Tizo, to play Tizo in Ayo's position just for a few points. Just for like about in the coming set, maybe they could use Tizo to play maybe some few points and see what he can do, because I believe he's a smart player and he could make a difference, really.
Oh yes. While you're talking about that and the stats that we're talking about, I wonder how many points Ongom has scored right now, because he's really going big on points and he's really making the most of them.
Yes, and we are not seeing George coming into attack so much, and that is an error from Onapa. He tries to go back to the line and he goes out.
Yes, and that gives Nemo a very, very big lead there in this game, where they've really settled. The passes are still not there. We haven't seen their middle, but they've really managed to score from those outsiders. Ongom and George, basically, they seem to be carrying this game. For me, it's Ongom, George, because they are out-serving them so that their middle is not running, which shows the prowess that a team can have, honestly, to be able to play off system almost every other point.
Yes, and we are not even seeing Redman coming in so much, but you can see he's struggling. I think maybe the connection is a little bit not there with him and the setter in this game. It could have been there in the games of the previous weekends, but specifically this game, the connection is a bit lacking between him and Redman. we've seen he has only been able to score like about 3 to 4 balls, but for a set of 20, they have 23 points. Surely he should be able to, starting from the first set all the way, he should be able to have at least about 5 points or 6 from the middle, from him as an individual.
Yes,
but
and
he's struggling.
And George sends another one to Spike Town there as the sim is left in between the middle and the KVC setter there. Set point there, a lot of set points for Nemo Stars. Will he go middle? Yes, he goes middle, and the young man sends the ball out. I think the young man is struggling with those attacks. The setter is setting for him, but he's really struggling there.
I feel the ball is a little bit so high for him, and he's unable to maybe find a way to get on court and put it on court. But that is it. We are having set scores 1-1. KVC 1, Nemo Stars 1, and Nemo has taken this second set. Now I'm looking forward to see what is going to happen later on in this game, because are we going for a 5-set game, or one of these teams can take the next 2 sets and we close the day?
I would say for me right now, Nemo looks comfortable. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because some KVC players are still really serving very well, but Ongom and George are able to score from those off-system balls. So yet KVC, their receiver attackers are not giving anything at all. With Endra and Ayo, they are not helping Onapa. We have the middles trying to have some block touches on several balls, but nothing really is coming to. So I feel like it is KVC that I would hope they can change some of the players, or they can change their tactic. But Nemo really does look comfortable at the moment.
Yes, let's wait and see what is going to happen in the 3rd set. And yeah, we look forward to less errors and more kaboom booms from both teams.
Oh, definitely. Someone is saying, what happened to Esau? It's like he's not playing. Esau is there today. He's on the bench, but we are suspecting that he might not be playing because he's been at school. So he probably didn't train enough. I mean, this is me just making a comment. We're not really sure. But I'm pretty confident that once KVC starts to bring in the pressure, we might see players like Esau coming in on court. We are back on. We are live from NSAMBYA Sporters round, and the sets are 1-1. KVC versus Nemo Stars. Nemo Stars, the current champions of the national champions of the volleyball in Uganda, and KVC, the former silver medalist. Well, how do you say it? Former? Are they still former? Are they like they came second last year? So what do you say? Like, how do you?
I think I'm going to say they are still the runners-up of the league, of the
runners-up. All right,
because they are defending champions, and maybe they are also the defending
runners-up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the defending runners-up versus the team that they knocked out last year in what really hurt Nemo Stars, but they look comfortable here. Nemo Stars. However, KVC has a set. And we already have an error service from JB there, who today we haven't spoken much about, the veteran setter who will set every other set. So probably that's why me and Shamira are not really talking about JB, because JB really can turn anything bad into good. We see there he's given George a set that doesn't reach, and George just takes it back as it is. And Ayo is easily blocked there.
It is hard to notice the setter when the attackers he's using 2 attackers and they're scoring. It's easy to notice a setter where he's having so many options, and you want to see who is going to get the ball
When he's
and
cooking.
Yes, and I'm going to say this. There are some teams that actually do this. KCCA tries to do that. I want to see. I am always looking at the KCCA setters. They are not like, I'm not going to say they are the best setters, but I am always looking to see what decision they are going to make, because everyone can attack on that team. The middles, the outside. The setter is just not sure.
Good analysis there, Shamira. We spoke about it last week. I think I was commenting with Herbert, and I did say that for me, one thing about KCCA is at the moment they are a team where I did see the pipe running. I did see everyone, every other
Everyone.
thing, it was running. You know, it's unfortunate that they didn't get to win that game. But we see Onapa there thinking and saying, you know what, I can see you guys. I'm going to go on that dump and make it count.
Yes, and he goes almost on the line, and Brian doesn't expect him to come there because the block almost goes over the ball. But good attack there from Redman, but we can see Christopher is still trying to make some touches on those balls.
Oh, yes, he is.
Yes, he's not just going as though there is nothing there. So the middle players are trying to touch those balls.
If Christopher had penetrated on that ball, it was going to be a good monster block. However, Redmond still went home with that point, and we see Christopher again getting that set. Looks to me as if it was quite a short set. Between short set and him bending his elbows, you know, in attack you have to go high and you get over that ball. But an error there causing Nemo to catch up. It's 3-all now.
I'll mention that you can see, if you look at the rotation for KVC and Nemo, there's been a change there. KVC has made it so that the setter does not move with George on the front court and instead moves with Wandera. But now the problem would come if they were to take out Wandera and bring somebody like Esau in that position. It would be a very, very difficult thing for them, because unlike George, Esau is a very high jumper and it would be an advantage. But you can see they've switched it up, and by the time the setter is coming back to, George has only one rotation with the setter, most likely. Yeah.
I agree totally with you on this one. I'm like, they better pray that Wandera stays on court, because if any other player, Esau or the other player that we call Derek, really it could be a big thing for them. But let's see if that can even count for KVC as well. They, who we've seen being able to only use Onapa, who continues honestly to deliver at this point in time. The middles are now struggling. The setter is giving them. We saw the setter giving Bernard in the last set as they were wrapping it up. He was struggling, and Christopher, the other middle, is struggling, and therefore making Nemo very comfortable in everything that they are playing right there.
Yes, and I'm going to say this, and for those who are out there watching, please, I'm not saying it, no offense. I'm going to say the word no offense, but right now, in my view, I don't see why Nemo still has Wandera on court.
I agree, but such things, they get down to the more specific things, like what if both those boys didn't train?
Yes,
but also
yes. But I feel, yes, what if they did not train? But he's not attacking, and he's not blocking.
Yes.
The defense is not. So there is nothing that he's doing. He's not making that difference that you would expect him to make, because even the setter is not giving him the sets. So why is Wandera on court right now? Yes, he may be trying to push and do well for the team, and as you can see, still there is no block there from him. So wouldn't it be better to have maybe
Esau or Derek?
Yes, one of those youngsters.
Yes. Wandera has scored. I hope you saw that, Shamira, but it was touched from the block. But I totally agree with you in everything. It goes down to what does the coach want, what happened at training. But at this moment in time, for us, all we're saying is he is not converting. Wandera is not really scoring for the team. So
But I'm going to say why I think maybe he may be on, although right now I don't see it. Usually when George is on with those two guys, he has to receive a very big part of the court. I think having Wandera there reduces the pressure on George and allows him to concentrate more on the attack and not focus too much on the reception. Because when he plays with Derry for Esau, he has, at some point it's almost him and Brian receiving the backcourt, two people almost. The other person is given a very small part.
Good
I think
observation.
they are trying to maybe relieve him of that serve receive pressure.
Good observation there. It takes the opponent to also get to notice what Shamira is talking about and still keep the serve coming. But the past few balls that were played, I saw KVC trying to really pressure George by putting those balls right in front of George, such that George didn't have that pipe attack. And Nemo Stars has scored there from a net touch, and we see the gap keeps reducing right now, 7-8. KVC looked like they were starting strong, but we've seen a lot of defenses, good defenses actually, but we've also seen a lot of saves going to Brian, which has changed the game. And you see they're touching now those spikes from Onapa, which is really giving them that good momentum to build up and have the transition play, and a dump there from Bernard Malinga, and they leave the net open for Ayo, who fails to score, and they're gonna have a free ball coming in.
Yes, and the setter chooses to send that ball to Onapa, but it is kept alive. The setter tries to make a dump, but that is an error.
That was Endra, actually.
Endra tries to make a dump, and he makes an error. Good pick there from Ongom. Very, very good pick. He sits in that ball and keeps it up. And that's a good thing, good play in this moment for them to catch up and balance those points.
I'm also seeing one aspect where Nemo has really worked and improved. Nemo seems to have really worked on those defenses. You know, Nemo is hardly a team that you can say is defensive. That normally is the role of KVC, but we've seen Nemo doing really some good defenses. And look at Onwam going for that ball as well.
Yes, and he's kept alive. And it's another chance for KVC. This time they go to Endra, but there's a net touch there from George Aporu, and you can see Willington is going to the referee, but we all saw that net touch. Surely he should also have seen it.
Yes, I'm assuming he must be talking about something different, because that net touch was clear. The captain himself agreed to that net touch, but that was quite a rally, especially for a men's game. And I think we applaud Ongom for those good defenses. I hardly ever see him going down like that. And a service pressure there to George. Middle attack there that is peaked. Is someone going to set it? I'm wondering why the middle played that ball.
Yes, it's an unexpected error there from Bernard. But I'm going to continue saying that the connection between JB and Redman is still lacking. Still lacking so much. I think they need to work on it, because he is their go-to middle player. So if he's not able to score, then maybe they do not want to have that. I think they need to build the connection quickly, because if the connection fails to work and they come up against a team like Sportes with their blockers Sam and Emma, it will be very hard for Redman to go through.
From my observations, I feel like JB sets fast sets, but then they are a bit low. So when he gets there, you see that when he gets there, the set is already low, and he just tries to dump it over. So I think that's where they miss. That's where, and that goes out for a lot of setters. I feel like give that ball the height that it needs, just speed it up a bit. So because all the time, several times, Bernard has gone there and has had to just try and dump it because it's already low. So they need to do something there, the setters. I hope they do get the information. KVC manages to score that point, and it's still head-to-head. But going head-to-head with a team like Nemo, I feel like you are not helping yourselves, because Nemo has got a way of finishing games up. But let's see what KVC is thinking about down the line.
Yeah, very good attack from Ongom. I'll mention that at that point, the previous point that KVC made was a service error from George, and George is one of the crucial servers for Nemo Stars.
Yes.
So you would not expect him to be having a service error, especially a service error in the net for his team. Ooh, good commitment, but good touch from Wellington. Wow.
And we've seen that pipe. We've seen that pipe again coming there. That was a good touch by Wellington. But still, from me, I would say that's what I'm talking about. To say, setters, please set those balls up high for those meters. We're not saying they're like outside sets, but give them height and the speed that they require. That gives Nemo a break point, and now they've taken the lead 12-11. Nemo seems to have switched their service, and they're now serving to the libero.
Yes, and the ball has gone to Onapa, and he attacks very hard and gets that score for his team and to get us back to level here. And the setter has not overused Onapa in this set so far. These 12 points we have not seen him using him so much. I think he's trying to maybe cool him down a little bit. Both teams, I've noticed one service error from both teams. I don't know, maybe if I've missed out any service error from them. One from George and now from Eddie for KVC.
You didn't miss any, but for me now, my worry is this young man has missed several saves right now, coming from the other set.
Yes, he has missed like about one or two.
It's like he's rushing. And then the young man, Christopher, gets a big block on that attack.
Good play there from Christopher. Wellington, there's no way through for
yes, there's no way through. Yes, there's no way through. Brian picks that up and it goes to pipe.
Backcourt again. Good attack from George. Catches Innocent Ayo a little bit on the shoulder there. I would say maybe it could have been going out because he's a tall player.
Two up, or he was two just standing there right behind the block. The block leaves the seam. You can't see the ball and you're out there. So it means you have to position yourself very, very well there. And that's the back attack that we've seen being set there.
Yeah, good serve from Mandera, but Endra takes advantage of that gap between JB and Wellington in the block. I feel like considering like the joining of the blocks, Redman tries to completely seal off that gap that is in 6 better than Wellington, because for Wellington we tend to see that yes, he will go and join, but he has that gap in the middle between him and the outside blocker, so it's not completely sealed. And most cases, if you find an experienced player, they will jump and see the gap is there and they'll take that ball in between that space. And I think it's as a result of the middle player trying to, being a little bit late on the joining.
And trying to join there. Yes, I've seen Wellington there went to the hand straight up. He says, "You are a young man, I'm going to go straight there." And the pipe gone wrong there, and Ayo sends that ball out in an unforced. Honestly, Shamira, I am really wondering what's going on in the heads of the KVC coaches right now. How long are they going to keep Ayo on court?
Yes,
he's really struggling. He's really being exposed right now.
They need to try and use Tizo, like I mentioned. They need to try and bring him in and see what he can do. Tizo or Smith, because if they are looking at maybe getting a taller player in, they could bring Smith.
They also have Matthew, by the way.
They have Matthew, by the way, as well. So they can try to make that difference.
Even for me, still the same, Shamira. Sorry to cut you short, but even for me, I'm like, why are you keeping Endra as well? You know, so it still goes back to the coaches. Maybe it's issues to do with training and all those things. But yeah, for us as commentators, if we see someone on the bench and we know what role they play, we will kind of make the substitutions for you.
Yes, yeah, we'll make the substitutions for you. But service for Nemo service, they're trying to go after the libero for KVC, which is rare for servers to look after to look out and attack the libero on the services. But that's another service error there from KVC, and that is Onapa. I can tell you those are two service errors from KVC.
There are three now. There's one person Ayo missed a service as well.
Yes. There are three, but there are two individual errors from Ayo. Again, that is the third error, individual error from Ayo as a player. I think if he goes back and watches this game, he might feel that we are on him we are like, yo, what is happening?
What is happening? Yeah,
Ayo,
I
what
agree.
is
I
this?
agree with you. Yes, he might feel like that one in him, but when we are up here, we're watching. We have a better view of seeing in terms of team contributions. For example, it also comes setter problems and all, because you're saying the setter has noticed all these errors that Ayo is making, but because it should be an option attack, the setter is nowhere to go. There is no middle that the setter can set, and they're giving you that ball, they're trusting you. Surely you really need to do something, because once also the setter starts not giving a receiver attacker a ball, then it's no longer a game plan that is going to be executed very well. The score is 18-16, and we are in those crucial moments, and Nemo has taken the lead there. They're still looking comfortable. Like we say, they don't have Wendera attacking a lot of balls, but they're still able to disguise that and continue playing these games. Let's see if KVC, after talking about it at the timeout, can get a
yes,
point.
and we are in crucial points here. Good block in a crucial moment to give Nemo a 3-point lead. We are in crucial points now here. It's 19-16. Nemo has 19 and KVC has 16. So this is where it gets very tough
Yeah,
for KVC
yeah,
mostly,
yeah.
because the late game is tough for
It's
them.
tough. For me, the attackers are not really helping this setter. The pass has come, the pass is decent. Yes, of course, this young man is not doing himself favor by not setting Bernard in the middle, but we've also seen how shaky Bernard is in that middle. He's got Endra there, he's tried Ayo on the pipe, and Ayo hasn't scored for him as well. So really, you become a setter who's like, what should I do?
Yes, and you can see he just sends all balls out, sending all balls out. And KVC seems to say that...
Look at that again.
Let's see if there's a touch. If there's a touch.
Oh, there is a touch.
There is a touch.
There is a touch.
There's a touch, but...
the refs don't see that. It's only us here who are able to see that.
Yes, they think that there was no touch on that ball. And Endra again goes out. And we've just mentioned it now. Since the referees are not calling that a touch, I'm going to count it as an error for KVC.
Yes,
because he could have played that ball better still. So in these crucial moments right now, from 18-16 to now 20-16, KVC has made 2 errors. So that means the 2 points that Nemo has added on have been made for them by KVC to push them.
That's like a 4-1 run. 4-1 run. The opponent scores 4s, and you're clearly failing to side out. And the tactic of Nemo of serving to libero, at the moment, really, one might say, oh, it's not working for KVC, but for me, it's the attackers. The libero has really passed all those balls well in system for everyone. The setter has set a pipe, the setter has set a 4-ball, the setter has set a backward ball. So basically, it's them not working on that and concentrating on that side-out ball.
Yes, I think he's looking for options, and he's trying to juggle around and see who is going to give him the points. And we can see that Matthew has come on for Endra. He has come on for Endra to serve.
I would have expected that substitution to be done in front.
Yes, to be
Matthew
done
is
for Ayo.
They call him powerhouse. He's one attacker that we know can go really hard.
Yes, and that is another error from Nemo Stars for Mongom. But they are still quite comfortable with the 3-point lead, so maybe we will not be seeing so much pressure on them unless Matthew pushes them on the service.
So yes, that's it for me. Really, they're still comfortable, because the Nemo that we know, the Nemo that we've studied, Shamira, you and I, it's the Nemo that we know that when it comes to these points, they will hardly make those errors.
And now take a look. The substitution is coming on, as I mentioned earlier. Derek is coming on, and KVC still has the setter on the front court. So Wandera is going out. I don't know what is the goal for Nemo to make this substitution, but we see Derek is coming on, and he's in position 4.
because they want to close it up, because they've seen that the opponent has put in Smith, who we know that he's stable. He might come from the bench, but he's stable. But
Yes.
also, Derek is a bit taller than Wendera. So they are saying, you know what, we want to finish this using substitutions. And we
Yes.
see the young man who's just coming in there. His name is Swalik, just dumping that ball with
Yes.
that high jump and scoring his first point. I think that's bravery from the young setter there, giving. Oh, that was the setter
It
dump.
was a setter dump.
Oh, that
yes,
was a
sir.
setter dump.
Yeah, it was a setter dump. A good play from the setter. They did not expect that. They were a bit surprised.
I love the replay there from our technical team. Well done, technical team. It really shows that people were not expecting that. But you
Yes.
see them looking at the libero like, hey, it's your ball. But for me, as someone who was in coaching, that is for the block first, and then it goes to why we say defend that zone first. Secondly,
Good serve from Redman. Good attack from Ayo. I think that is, I'm going to say the first, the second from the backcourt that he attacked in the first set, and this attack here. It's the second impressive attack that he has made for us so far.
we've been yearning for these points. We've been really waiting for these points. I'm trying to see there that we thought KVC had taken out Endra, but KVC actually took out Onapa as well.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
And I think maybe JB is not getting the point of why the substitution for Derek was made, because he's still going after George in the backcourt while still having that young man there in the front court. I think he needs to give him one ball, because they were comfortable in the lead, so he could have trusted him with that one ball. And again, it's another error from the attackers.
It is at such points where I'm like, Nemo really should be careful, because not only once, but it was 2 times where such a scenario happened to them. Every time they were playing KVC, where we're like, okay, Nemo is about to wrap it up, and KVC did come back for them. So do you think we could see a repeat of that?
It is possible, because it was 16-20,
Yeah.
17-21,
Yep.
and now it's 22-23, and they made a substitution. This is what sometimes confuses me about players. They made a substitution and brought in a taller player who you know is there to attack. So why not give him that first ball
Yes.
when you still have the
Yes.
lead, when you still have that 3-point lead?
And
Give
get him in the
that ball
momentum.
and see if he does not score for you, then you can go back to your other attackers, rather than giving those attackers and they do what has just happened, attacking out, and then you have to look for this young guy when you need that 1 point, and he's not the person
He's
to
not
go
ready. I agree with you. Let's see what the setter does, but I think the set will go to Ongom, depending on the serve. And
to. It's a service
the young
error
man
from
serves on the
KVC.
net there, and the coach gets that point. I said it that I feel like this young man needs to be calmed down. He rushes those services.
Yes, and it's a double substitution. We are seeing Esau has come on, and we see Smith has also come on to serve, and Esau is on the front court there. Look at that front court that Nemo has lined up to get this 1 point. And look at KVC calling that timeout. They've also made their substitutions and taken off Onapa, but they've not taken out the setter. I think they don't have maybe a credible option at the moment, but they've made different substitutions, I think, as well, to have taller blockers on the front court, to have players who to bring in that change, that difference of people to score.
Yeah, so waiting for a side out there for KVC, even as Smith, who we know can serve very well, is on that service box. But I think for me, I'm anticipating seeing who the setter for KVC will set to. Good pass there. Who will he go to? And he goes to Smith, who's blocked there, and they retrieve that ball.
Yes.
And they give it a free ball. Can they defend?
Where will the setter
Smith
go? And
will
he
go
goes to Esther. Yes,
and-
but there is a touch there on
On
the
the
antenna, and I think that ball went a little bit far. Let's see. I want to see who Smith is going to go to if he gets that good reception. And I want you to see the way Nemo is.
I'm wondering, Shamira, why Endra is coming in for such a tall guy like you.
Yes. Why they have made that substitution, and yet they are looking for that point.
Well, let's see how it works. I dare the setter to set there, and we see if Endra can touch that young man there. But however, they choose to go where they are blocked by Smith there. They are looking for Esau.
The setter chooses to go to Derek. Esau and Derek are struggling a bit, but Endra tries to get that point. Set goes to Esau, and he goes hard off the hands. And Nemo takes the set 3 here. I think I'm going to mention it. We would not even have gone this far if the setter had used his substitution that he had been given. Sometimes I'm going to say it because it bothers me usually. Even as a player, sometimes when the substitution is made for an attacker, you need to use them, give them that first ball, because they're not there to, they're there to attack. Especially if they are taking out a player who is usually there for defense, and they bring in a player who you know is there to attack. Give them the balls, because that is why they are there.
Yeah.
They are not there to block or to receive. They are there to attack, and you're looking for a point. So give them the ball. But Kavc has tried to push and try to catch up at the end. But again, the errors, the unforced errors that they tend to make towards the end of the sets are the ones that tend to cost them from 15 points upwards. They tend to have several errors. I wonder what causes it. Do they get nervous?
I'm honestly think it's players need to focus when they are playing a game. But I also have something burning, Shamira, in that why did the coach send Endra back? You get my point? Why did the coach send Endra back right there? I thought, especially having him being given that last ball, and considering his performance this whole time, because obviously when the setter saw Endra and thought, oh, in front I have the young man Christopher, he's young, and I've got Smith who just came in, let me just give Endra. But then we saw him dumping that ball, which caused in Nemo to get that last point there. So I think at times there is where trust is needed when it comes to a player who's come on court and hadn't performed well. But also in terms of height, Matthew is a bit higher there, and then we see just Nemo comfortably wrapping up the set.
Let's see what is going to happen. Can they comfortably take even the next set and maybe take the 3 points here, or maybe Kavc can push us to the 5-set game? Let's wait and see. Set 4 of this game. And we are back for set 4. Nemo has 2 sets, Kavc has 1. Kavc took that first set. We saw them having a good start. They took that first set. And now we are seeing the second set. There is no difference in the lineups for all teams. We see all teams are keeping the same players that they've started with the previous sets. And let's see what Kavc is going to do. Can they take us to the 5 sets, or will Nemo just decide to close it up? But the lineups are the same. All teams are keeping the same players, same start. Let's see what is going to happen.
Yeah, I do feel like, Shamira, from me, maybe I expected too much from both these two teams, but I do feel like these games didn't really quite deliver in terms of my expectation. Maybe I'm used to games where balls are being sent to Spike Town. Maybe today is one of those days where players just score. But I do feel like for our Serie A league, honestly, this game for me was just one of those games, you know. But yeah, in the end, it's a game and it counts. Nemo right now has 1 point in the bag, and George gets another point easily there with Onapa not committing to that defense. I always feel like at times players who are good in attack hardly ever tell themselves, I need to defend first.
Yes, players who are good in attack tend to focus on attack and maybe front court defense, but the back court defense is not something they tend to concentrate on. They tend to focus on attacking and blocking. But
Nemo taking an early lead there, 2-1.
Yes, and they're still going after the libero on the service. And I will tell you, I'm going to give you one of the reasons I think why they are going to serve more in position 5 and towards position 6. They are trying to cut off Onapa because it is very hard for the setter to force a set when the reception is taking him towards position 4, to force a set back in position 2 or 1 for Onapa. And I think that's why they are trying to serve the ball towards that side.
Yes, and you can see he's really struggled setting for Onapa in the previous set until they had to take Onapa because most of the sets were not reaching as the ball was on 6th position there. But we see Ongom going down that line outside. But I think you already commented about this. You were like, you wonder why Ongom being a left-hander, why are they not leaving the line for him? And by leaving the line for him, he will overtake because that's not his comfortable natural position. But also when it comes to spikes, it to me it never looks that hard and speedy as compared to when he's having that diagonal open there. Another error there from KVC in terms of serve.
I think most of the times we are going to be discussing so much on the errors of KVC on serve because they tend to have so many of those sometimes. But a good attack there from Ayo.
That was picked comfortable by George.
Yes.
And then we see Ayo going on that net touch.
Yes, it was a good attack from him, well picked by George, but then he had to make another error again. I'm going to insist, and Ayo will have to forgive us, but I feel this game should have been there should have been someone else to get him
help
in his
him
position earlier on since the beginning. Maybe that should have created a difference for KVC.
And he has gone on that antenna again. I think for me at times it gets down to maybe the coaches or it gets down to the bench as well to say a player is clearly showing signs that I need relief.
Yes.
This game can be really mentally it can affect a player in terms of that mental strength. But if you give them 2 seconds, just 2 seconds to be on the bench and breathe and you get them back on court, no matter how much how good of a player, if they have that pressure, it might be too much for them. So for me, what I think is right now he just needs a breather. He might not need to be out the whole game, but just a breather for him to just say, okay, I can come back and surely focus on this.
Yes, good attack there on the line from Onapa, and I'm going to tell you, every time the setter gets that catch in the center, he's going to try and go behind and look for Onapa. So Nemo is still going to insist on their service towards position 5 to limit that. But KVC has the serve here, and Onapa is coming on the front court.
Yes, and they serve to George, who passes off system, but they managed to run middle. That middle is blocked, and blocked, and a good pick up there, a dump from Wendera. And the setter says, I'm there, Onapa, I'll give it to you. And Onapa tries to score, but Brian is really doing the most. The rally has gone on for long. Let's see which team will go.
But Onapa says, I'm taking this one, and he gets it, and 6-6 KVC Nemo.
I'm impressed though by Ongom. I don't know if you're seeing me not really talking.
He's moving, he's making those defenses.
Everything, yeah.
And very crucial touches, by the way. Sometimes you can see he's going after that ball and his teammates are sometimes standing, but he is not giving up until maybe the referee is blowing that whistle to end to stop that play. Again, good attack there from Onapa on the line.
And you could hear him shout again, but you could also see how comfortable the setter was, considering what you said, that you think when the setter is not comfortable, that's how he's not able to set for Onapa very well. And
Yes.
George, again, is like, I'm there, but Onapa's ball is like, I'm harder this time, KP. And the side out there from Omom, who honestly for me is the MVP so far in this game.
Yes, Ongom has scored like about 80% in this game, more than other players. And I want you to see how also the fact that KVC made that change in the rotation, it also gave Onapa a chance to move with Wandera, who is not also the high blocker for Nemo. So it has given Onapa a chance to play against the shorter block on the front court.
Oh yes, true. And then we had Onapa scoring from that one-legged jump there, who we've spoken a lot about as well. I feel like in as much as we've spoken about him, we forgot that when it comes to defense, he's really defending very well, by the way.
Yes, and ball is kept alive. It's going to be a free ball for KVC. That ball is on and the libero saves it. The referee is calling.
The ball went out of play there. I do feel like that ball was out though. The ball that the libero play, I thought it was going out, and the score is 8-8 after that mega rally. It's hard for men to play mega rallies, but women, they can easily do those. When Dera goes out on the service, and I think Shamira again will be like, why, Coach Memory, why?
Yes, I'm going to mention it because I feel if he's not attacking and he's not,
what are you doing?
He has to put that service on court and defend.
But then
that is his role, and
we have to come to terms with it, Shamira. It's set 4 and he's still on court.
Yes, and KVC seems to have momentum for this set so far because Nemo is struggling a little bit there. Nemo has struggled this whole afternoon and evening in the middle. There is no connection between JB and his middle players so far. We've not seen those thunderous attacks, thunderous spikes that we usually see from Redman through the middle, and maybe Wellington as well. There's almost nothing from the middle that is scary. There's almost nothing that we usually see from the Nemo side to the middle. So I think that's just a little bit of lack of connection between them. But KVC is forcing Nemo to call a very early timeout in this game. I think Nemo wants to actually finish the set and go home and enjoy the weekend.
Oh yeah, by the way, it's a Saturday. But also for me, I feel like I'm about to send Nemo an official letter of asking for Benon to come on court. I mean, maybe he might set middle. We know JB can set that middle, but we're just saying for today, there is no connection. But someone wrote here, said Smith is about to retire, which is a good thing. And we're also happy that they have JB and they also have Benon. So we're hoping maybe they can manage to, at least one of these games, throw in Benon and we see what he can do as a young man.
Yes, because we have not seen him, I've not seen Benon play any of these games, such as from the time when Nemo plays those big teams, KCCA, KVC, okay, teams that are giving it somewhat of a challenge. I've not seen Benon play. And I feel maybe they could give him a chance, especially in such a game, and see if he can connect well with the middle. Or better yet, they could bring in Smith, and because I think Smith can connect with both the outside and the middle as well.
Yes,
see how it would give them a chance to end this set, by the way.
Yes, so we see Onapa going nice and easy on those hands. I must say, Onapa really today has contended. Ongom might still be in front in those point scoring, but Onapa has really been contending it as well in that position. 1v1 for George, and a net touch there after the ball is nicely picked up by Ayo.
I think it's very hurtful sometimes, I think, for the players, for that defense to be made and then there's a net touch. Yes, the person on the net is also trying to make their contribution on the defense, but in most cases when the cover has actually raised that ball and defended, and then you see the referee is calling a net touch, I think there's a way that affects the players sometimes. especially for men with those hard spikes when you make that defense, and then there's a net touch.
Yes, we see the load becoming too big for Onapa until he's blocked, and Nemo has managed to equalize in those points. But we do need other scorers for KVC. Honestly, we
Yes.
do need other scorers. Onapa can't be the only one carrying the team. We have Joel there; he's not scoring. We have the pipe that we saw them trying to give Onapa at the beginning of the sets, it never really fell through. Yeah, so for me, it's that time where I'm like, okay, let's do something there. And Nemo takes the lead there with JB on the service line.
Yes, I wonder what is going through the mind of the setter for KVC right now. If he sends that ball out to Onapa and he doesn't score, and then sends that ball out to the power attackers, and then they don't score, then it forces him to go back to Onapa, because maybe Onapa will not score one, but then he'll score like the next 2 or 3. So it is pushing him to actually stay, to actually use Onapa and push him so hard. And sometimes it's a disadvantage, because you may get to that moment and you need to try out other players. So I think despite Innocent you're being struggling a little bit, I think maybe they could try to set that backcourt once more for him and risk it and see what they can do. Let's see where that ball went.
Of course, yes.
Oh,
that ball goes out
slightly outside. If you're not very keen, you may think it is
on
actually
court. Yeah,
yes.
but that's a good call from the refs, and we do have a middle attack there. I think the Nemo might have switched up their middles, because Bernard is now moving with Redman, which was not the case. He was moving with Christopher, and KVC might have been jinxed here by the Nemo coach. Therefore, after they noticed that young man number 1 was managing to block Bernard at some point, and George chasing that ball all the way, and the fans there, I hope everyone is safe right there. But yeah, that's what you get in volleyball. Relentless pursuit is what we call it.
Yes, and I think for Nemo, they're not playing what they've played in the previous sets. But I'm going to say this: sometimes I feel like they're listening to us and they're like, what are these guys talking about? And you always tend to see that difference. We had just mentioned how the middle is not working well, but now in the last 2 points or 3, I've seen Bernard Maling going very hard in the middle, like 2-3 attacks there, the previous attacks. But
on the last point there, Shamira, how do you leave the net open for Onapa?
Yes, a player who actually comes in, who attacks the backcourt, despite what happens, despite the set being so default and a little bit out of the court. He's a backcourt attacker. He will come in hard and attack that ball. An error from Redman. I think he decided to risk it, despite seeing how low that set is. He tried to risk it. That is not a set you give to a player like Redman. And I'm going to continue to say they need to bring in someone to get the middles going to take this set.
That's also a moving set. So for a moving set, Bernard didn't shift in that manner. So that's why you saw me just saying, I've seen something. So it looks like JB called him for a 2 meters away ball, but he didn't move. So this time around, it was him who found the ball low, because he was really taking his time to connect to that route that the setter had called him for. And thereby, he finds that ball low. Yes, so let's keep watch of that. It could be, maybe that's the style, that's how JB sets. But in the previous sets, I do agree those sets were low.
Yes, and we can see that that's the third service error from Nemo Stars in this set. And that one comes on from Redman. But KVC is looking good in this set, and they're taking, it's now a 4-point lead for them. And hopefully they can be able to maintain their lead here. Do you think they'll be able to maintain it this time? Because 4 points is quite a good margin. If they're able to push, they can take this set and take us to 5 sets.
I do feel that way. I don't know where I'm getting the confidence, but also Nemo is not, to me, delivering much in this set, yeah? So
Yes.
that's why I'm feeling confident a lot, you know? But this is Nemo, and this is Ongom in terms of how we side out. Unless maybe George comes back, I'm not sure what's happening with George, and we haven't seen much of him in terms of him attacking now. I hope you've also noticed that as well. So let's see if KVC can pull this off, or if Nemo can really come back. A
Yes.
good touch on defense there by Joel Endra, but unfortunately his body is not facing the court. So where you're facing, that's where the ball goes.
Yes, and good effort there from him, but the ball goes out. And Nemo is trying to push and catch up, and we can see that Smith has come on court. I told you, sometimes it feels like these people are listening to us, and you
Yeah.
can see that Smith has come on court, and JB is off. Good block, very good block from Wandera and Willington, and this time they've shut down that gap in the middle there. You can see the block is well sealed.
I would have
Very
loved to
good.
see a replay of that, but then Smith has got the ball now, so we need to see the next point. But that was indeed a very good block to take the point lead to 2 points, and he loses the serve.
Yes, it's the fourth service error.
Oh
from
wow!
Nemo Stars.
Oh wow!
And we are in crucial points right now.
Very
Yeah.
crucial points.
So
There is
that's
the replay.
Very
For
good
me,
block
it's
from
the attacker going back to the diagonal where the middle is going to. There was a seam right there. There was a seam. He could have cut that ball straight into the seam, but he chooses to go acute diagonal. And the middle says, thank you very much, I'll take you down. But an error there. Nemo is also starting a habit of making errors in such crucial points.
Yes. And is it the second time out?
Yep.
It's the second time out for Nemo Stars because they called an early timeout. And I always say it's not over until it's over.
Oh yeah.
And KVC, yes, shouldn't get so comfortable yet, but at least they should push and take this set, because the 4-point lead, when you're looking to get a point and go on to the decisive set and see how to win that game, when you're on the disadvantage in terms of the set, really you need to push and see how to finish the game, especially when you're having the lead. Because at the moment Nemo is struggling. Even the defense, we can see that has gone a little bit down.
Yeah.
And the attack as well. We are not seeing Ongom coming in hard. We are not seeing George. But Smith forces that ball to Wandera, and he is blocked. And I wonder why he would make such a decision to send that ball there when he is having the tall guy, Esau, in 4.
So what happened there, Shamira? It was a very low tactical pass that the ball that they served to Wandera, and Wandera passed it short, and Smith could only pass that ball using a bump, and then he couldn't, because he was not under it, he was not able to send that ball to 4. So he could only do what he had there, and
I feel like I'm now more confident that KVC could take this set and we go in for a 5-set game, because Nemo is making so many unforced errors.
And you could see Joel Endra there communicating, say wait, let's wait, because he could tell that the setter was off position there in terms of where he wanted to set. But there goes the change that we anticipated, the change that Shamira has been saying, bring in players, bring in, and finally they've heard you.
The players are now in, but that's another error, and a good serve there from KVC. I will say that miscommunication there between George and his libero, really at this point, I feel they might have let go of this set, even in the style of play, the way they are playing. I feel they're moving on to
Shamira, because this is the guy that you always say, this guy can serve, and that is Ayo. He served about 4 services.
Yes, and now he is serving, but Nemo is able to get a break there, and we shall see Derek going into serve. And Derek was a player in Tigers, by the way. He played in Tigers for a season, and then he took off a break for 1 full season, and then transferred to Nemo Stars. Yes.
Okay, so welcome to Serie A, Derek. It's a good thing when players always
actually when he played for Tigers, that moment Tigers was in Serie A. It was a Serie A team.
Wow.
At the time when he played for Tigers. So he has played in Serie A since joining this National Volleyball League.
KVC getting those How
this is-
many
this
set
is the
points are
play.
those? My mathematics is refusing. 17 to 24. Those are a lot of set points for
Yes,
KVC
for
to miss.
KVC.
And they've put in Tizo, who we know can serve well, who we know can defend very well there. Joel Endra is still on front court with that low block.
I think
but
they're
they
about
haven't-
5 to 6 set points there for 5,
3
7
plus 4,
actually,
7
7
set points.
set
Yeah,
points,
yeah.
yes. For
Tizo saves there, and they get that block very well.
Esau is
Seems to be
blocked.
doing a great job, and he goes, and the defense there.
Ball is kept alive. Good play from Tizo, and Joel plays it, but Brian is there. Back set again for Esau, but I think it's a little bit out of system, and he's unable to keep it in play. But good touch there. Nemo has saved the first set point,
Yes.
and now KVC has called a timeout to see maybe how they can get that 1 point.
Yes, timeout they called for KVC. We're comfortably having 6 set points, and we can see Matthew there saying, guys, it's just 1 point, it's just 1 point. I feel like the timeout is just simply to remind them, because at times you can get complacent if you have those many balls. We still have people. Sorry, we seem to be forgetting about you guys today, but please do talk to us. Mariam is saying Nemo guys are making points for KVC as in failing to save. I agree. How many save errors are there?
They've had 5 service errors this set
That's a
so
lot.
far. Yes, from Nemo.
And how many on KVC?
KVC has only had 2 service errors this set.
Shamira,
so far.
KVC today minimized on their errors.
Yes,
It was
yes.
only Ayo first set, and some of the balls he was being blocked. But honestly, if what I see today is KVC went home and they worked on that era of service. Yes,
Yes, they've tried to
Tizo has
fix
stayed
it.
on court there. Can you see for the libero? They're gonna save him, and there the ball goes to Onapa, and Onapa dumps that ball. It comes back. They set it to Esau,
to
and
Esau.
nicely picked up. Onapa again. No high for Ayo. Ayo dumps it, and it's picked up there. Esau, and Esau goes out of
Ball
court.
is out on that dump. The ball is out, and Nemo and KVC has taken that set, and we are going in 5 sets.
I didn't expect this, but it's impressive.
Yes,
I mean,
it is.
They really calmed themselves down with the young man, the setter there. He really composed himself. But for me,
Oh, very
Oh,
lucky
no.
there from him. He almost touched that ball, but
is that ball in or out?
the ball is inside, by the way. As we speak, that ball is on court, guys. You can see it's on the line. Ball is on the line. It's on court. But we can't reverse that now.
can't
We are
reverse-
going
we are
in
not
for
the
a fifth
referees.
set. Yes, that ball is on the line. But let's see what is going to happen in the 5th set, surely. And there's a saying that those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. So I hope Nemo has learned from their history, because you can see where we are heading. It's now 2-2. We are heading to those moments that happened last season.
This is not good history for Nemo right now.
Yes,
for
but-
Nemo right now.
Yes, it is not.
Yeah.
Yes, but for KVC, it is good history, and you never know. By the way, they could take the game. By the way, and it would be good for them.
Okay, but let me remind the viewers, let me remind everyone else that the last time those two teams met, I know we're talking about here in our league, where really KVC managed to beat Nemo Stars 2 straight games, and they went out of the playoffs. However, these two teams did meet in Rwanda, and Nemo Stars led all the way 2-0 in sets until KVC caught up, and it was 2-2, and Nemo Stars won that game. So head-to-head, Nemo Stars won the last game. But yeah, we're here in the background where there's no one still playing that ball that we're clearly seeing that is on the line.
Yes,
there.
the ball is on the line. Please. That ball is sitting on the line there, and I think you would blame that on the referee, because they did not see it very clearly. But the ball was not so fast, but I think it's a very slight touch on the line.
Yeah.
You can't.
I wouldn't blame them, because there was a player who was covering there. So at times when you see a player jump confidently,
Yes.
and that player was directly on the path of the ball, so probably that's what the ref did there. But yeah, it has taken us to 2-2, so why not? And besides, we can say KVC was sitting comfortable with a lot of set points waiting for them.
Yes, and I think people don't want to go home very early on a Saturday. I think this is their weekend plot. So some people are enjoying the fact that we are going in for a fifth set. But here on YouTube, or Team Jerry says Nemo will win on decisive set. I hope, or Team Jerry, you can stay with us till the end and we see if your prediction will be fulfilled here. But we are going in for a short set, very short set.
Very short.
Yes, and fast on 8 points, and we see how to change the side there. And
Shamira,
yeah.
one other thing though. Do you feel like the Nemo fans, are we missing the Nemo fans? I don't hear them today. Did you guys ban them from using their vuvuzelas? What do you call a vuvuzela in English?
It's a vuvuzela, I think.
It's now in the dictionary.
Yes.
That's actually in my home language, by the way, vuvuzela. That thing comes from South Africa. But I feel like we don't have as many of them as we usually do, especially their ladies team.
Yes, and we are. I think because they didn't have a game here today, so we are not hearing them so much. But then again, I'm going to mention that we had them in the second set when they got that set. We could hear them pushing to get that set, and yeah, Nemo deck takes the first point of the decisive set here. I can tell you that I'm just waiting to see what the result of this set will be. I'm anxious.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe rushing there in
Even
the future
me,
and seeing
even me,
who
I feel
is
that.
taking
I'm
that.
like, both these two
that
teams today
win.
for me just played a game that is a bit on the complacent side. So it's so hard right now to tell who wants it more. For me, they didn't look like they really wanted more. Someone is saying, studio camera is off. We want to see you ladies. Oh, studio camera is off today.
Yes, and that is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Actually, commentators are not your line of sight. Surely you should be on the game.
On the game.
You should be on the game. But if you would like to meet the commentators, feel free to come and maybe watch the game live in person at NSAMBYA Sports Arena. Yes,
Our tech team, Shamira, is to blame. Last week they spoiled them. During the set breaks, they would throw in the commentators. So let's just get the blame to the tech team. So 2-1 to KVC after that center line rule and the rotation foul there.
Yes, and that is something that is going to actually disturb the players psychologically.
Yeah.
This being a very short set. And we see Smith has started this set. We see the youngster Esau. We see changes in this set. I think Nemo wants to go on the attack.
I told you that when it's needed, don't worry, they will take Wendera off, and this is the time. But they've also put in Smith. But some calls are judgmental calls. Honestly, you can't really.
And yeah, that is George coming through, stepping up and getting that point. And I think it's a good read there from Smith, because he saw that the blockers had started more towards 4, and then he decided to backset that ball. But,
and Ayo was having a swing there while George was hitting the ball. So for me, I always have problems with attackers. I'm like, why are you with blockers? Why are you swinging there? Just go there and.
Good play there from good effort from Onapa to try and keep that ball alive, but the Redman is there on the block, and he just sends that ball back to KVC side. Service from George, and he's lucky, touches the belt a bit but goes on. Good defense from Smith. It's a free ball for KVC. I want to see where this ball is going, and yes, it goes to Ayo there in 4, and he gets that point. It's very crucial moment.
I thought that was a crucial point as well. I thought he was going to confirm with Onapa, but they seemed Nemo actually seemed to have said, we're not going to give Onapa the line, we're going to give him the diagonal and we defend him. And we've seen a couple of defenses there until the setter decides to then give the ball to Ayo.
Service error there in this set, and that is from the youngster Bernard. I think Bernard is not the best server. I'm going to say this because he tends to, his services are on and off. Sometimes he will serve on, sometimes he will serve off in the net. And I don't know the technique of service. A player will have so much power on attack, but they cannot send the ball from the service line over to the net. I think I may not really understand that theory.
Yeah, we've seen the block started. Yes, we've seen the block starting to come there. I think the setter is being lazy. The setter is forgetting his middles. Look at that. Look at that space that the middle has there.
I think if he put that ball for Christopher, he could have gotten the point, because even the middle did not commit on him.
Yeah.
they were committing to
To
go
Onapa.
to Onapa and Ayo. And Redman is serving again. You see Endra is Setter tries to dump that ball.
And he scores.
Yes, he scores, but credit to Esau for trying to keep it in play. He saw it, and you can see he tried to keep it in play, but
It looks
no
like
chance.
even George had seen that ball though.
Yes.
So
yes.
there was miscommunication between the two players there.
But it is 5-5, and who is going to get to 8 first? Back set. Oh, it's just not the best, but he tries to keep it in, and he comes in onto the diagonal. Is it kept alive? Yes, it is. Oh, miscommunication, but the ball is kept alive, and now it's Esau. Free ball. There's some miscommunication that's going on between KVC, and you can see that they don't know, they're not talking to each other to see who is going to get that ball.
It's the middle. Whenever a middle doesn't move, the setter doesn't have a zone to start from. So
Yes.
both the times it was actually the middle. You could see the young man trying to pull the middle there.
Yes.
And
it's
another
it's
block.
another
there.
block. Those are 3 blocks, by the way,
Yep.
for Nemo Stars in this set. 3 good blocks that they have made. And they are taking that 2-point lead. And you know, when the set is short, you don't have time to catch up. So you should not allow your opponent to leave you. But if the set is quite long, even if it's 13, 15, you know you catch up somewhere.
Yeah.
But now if it is if they leave you and get to like 6-9, it will be very hard for you to get those 3 points.
Yeah.
And by the time you wake up to get them, the set is over.
Fortunately, Ayo does save KVC there, but Nemo can actually use the advantage of this side out and finish the game. If their side out is so good, they can actually finish the game like that, because it will mean the game will finish.
And ball goes to Ongom, and he is blocked. The referee is calling a common point. I am waiting. I think let's get a replay.
Let's get a replay for ourselves.
I think the ball was completely inside court.
But it's also right in front of him there. So I don't see why are you calling a replay. The ball is right in front of you. What are you looking at? So you look at the ball, I'll look at his face.
Let's see where. I think he's not very sure, and we can't quite see it very clearly here to see where that ball went. We are not sure, but they say that ball is on.
Yeah.
And
maybe good decision there, especially if he doesn't see. For me, it's better off to say I didn't see than to really
give a point.
When you're not sure. So yeah, the scores are 8.
Nemo gets to 8 first. Now we shall be changing sides, and we see what is going to happen.
Shamira, do you believe in a winning side?
Sometimes I believe in a winning side, because this game has showed that one side is trying to win more than the other side. So let's see.
Let's see if this side is gonna win this game for Nemo Stars. But yeah, the gap is just 2 points right there at the change on the decisive set. Esau is saving the young man that we've been talking about, saying we want to see him. A short set there from the setter. If he can put the height, he gives Onapa, and they manage to have a touch on that ball to Onapa, and it gives Endra again, and Endra is blocked. I'm wondering honestly why the setter gives Endra such low sets when there is such a high block, and the point gap is 3.
And that's the 4th block for Nemo Stars in this set. And that's a good point lead for them, surely. And I had mentioned something like 6-9. It is very hard to catch up. But as you go on, because the set is short, even the pressure is so much on the team that is having the lead in the decisive, because they feel they are closer to victory with each moment that passes. And Nemo Stars has a 4-point lead, and they call that first time out of this set. And if they are steady, they could actually get
Yes,
that
yes, point for point and finish the
Yes.
set. But also for me, I would have thought that's where we need to see KVC doing something, because this rotation has really been giving them problems in terms of the
The
scoring.
ball was out. I think finally we can get a good view on that ball, or between Joel
Yes.
and Dra, and we can see the ball is out.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, and
Yeah. So I was still saying this rotation has really been bothering them when Joel is the one on front court and Onapa is on two there. The setter and the ball is not served well, such that they can set to Onapa well, and they've struggled scoring. So I would expect at this point that's where you would make your quick substitutions. But definitely today we didn't see those substitutions from coming in from the side of KVC and the
Yes.
bench that they have.
And it's rare to see substitutions being made in a decisive set, because it's
Yeah.
a short set.
Yeah.
The coaches tend to stick to those players that they've put on court. But we shall see a substitution coming in from KVC. We see Christopher is coming off and Tizo is coming on. And I think that is to put service pressure on Nemo Stars and also defense, to see that maybe KVC catches up and gives themselves a winning chance in this set.
Do you think Esau has come in and made a difference? The few points that he has played.
I think he has tried to push the blocks of KVC, because now they know that there is an attacker there, and he can also come on from the backcourt if they are not steady. He could come in from the backcourt as well.
And Endra with his height easily blocks Ongom. I don't know if there was something uncomfortable with that set, with Ongom having played a lot of those balls with JB, who moves the sets, and now Smith is going to come in, and with Smith, KVC knows, just wait.
Yes.
So could that be the difference?
No, I think he turned a little bit on the line there. He turned on the line and went back in the hands of Endra's block. But a good play there from Smith.
Yes, Smith has scored that point. I think that pass was going an overpass. It could have been easier for KVC to defend it, but Smith took that one in his hands while KVC was not watching.
And this is where it gets hot, because now Nemo Stars is having George on the front court with
Bernard.
And later on we shall see Ongom coming on as well, because Smith is in position 2. And that's a good attack. Smith is in position 2, and later on, as the rotation moves, they will have 3 attackers on the front court. Yes,
I feel like for me, when you say wait for such a ball, you need to then switch all your defense. Like Tizo was in the wrong place where you were defending. You need to switch and go there. But that's a good swing there from the captain, saying, okay, you're saying wait on me. I'm going to take that ball. That ball was definitely on court, but I'm going to take it and swing it right there. And
good block there from Smith. I think it goes back to Endra.
Yeah, but
Endra
I said it, Shamira. I said for me, I'm wondering what they want to gain from this rotation.
Yes.
You get it? For me, in this rotation, you want to bring in someone who you're like, okay, they're going to score for me. And I've said they've got Rukundo Smith outside, and they haven't given that ball. And now Nemo are comfortable 2 points away from wrapping up this match.
Yes, but it's not over until it's over. In volleyball, it's never over until it's over.
Yes.
But then sometimes you can say that looking at the attitude of the players.
Yes.
How do we see the attitude of KVC right now? Are they still fired up to play? I don't think so, because that is an error from Innocent Ayo, and that gives the set point, the first set point to Nemo, and they have 5 set points for themselves in this set. KVC calls the timeout.
Yes, we must have missed out a substitution. I see as if Smith came on there for Endra, but we have Ayo again on those and on that era again, going for that pipe and hitting the band there, which I still do feel like is an issue of the middle blockers movement. I'll ask for a replay after the game. I'll ask for a replay and see how the middle front moves and how the setter sets that pipe, because those two need a really very good relationship.
Yes.
Because you can have 2 people jumping over each other. Big Will will save there at match point, and the ball goes to
and it's
Smith,
kept alive.
It's defended, yes,
and good attack there from George, and that is it for this game. Nemo Stars takes it 3-2, and history does not actually repeat itself. Yes, and Nemo Stars survives that one this time. But good fight from them.
So Nemo Stars goes home with 2 points, and KVC goes home with 1 point there. I would love to see a replay of that final ball on the pipe there, just to see what route they use. But it's been a good game from both these two teams. I mean, yes, good, but not really the kind of good that we expected. Maybe the weather could also having some effects, because there are a lot of things that we overlook, especially volleyball being an indoor sport and us playing outside. At times you can come in and it's different, because I thought, Shamira, watching this game, it was not giving us really the energies that we normally see from both these teams, actually, not only from one side.
Yes, but I'll give credit to KVC because I saw they minimized their errors this game. Despite those few errors from Ayo as an individual, the team generally did not have as many errors as we saw they had against Sportes when they played their first league game. I think that is why one of the reasons why they've been able to push Nemo Stars to this limit. The services were working, very few service errors. Even in this final set, we've not actually seen a service error from KVC. So they've tried to minimize their errors and play, and it's just a few maybe mistakes that they had, very few, and very few decisions, maybe wrong decisions or bad decisions that they could have made that have maybe cost them. But I think they've played very well this game.
I also agree with you, considering what Onapa said, with missing most of their players or their experienced players coming in with the young men who we've seen. That's why I'm really crying that if only teams like Nemo should also give the likes of Benon a chance to play. We've seen this young man, he's played, and this is how players gain experience, by the way, because
Yes.
the day they're going to try him, when they need him, he might not be able to perform, but it might be maybe in playoffs, a big stage, yet this boy would have heated up and started playing, and he might be experienced then, comparing him to Benon, who we've seen. Benon is not new in this game, he's played for Ndeje before, so surely there is room for Nemo to trust him when it comes to this game. But today the day was Nemo's day there, with Smith coming in to finish that game. Any few tips that you think he did well to finish the game?
I think he connects better with the players because he has played longer with them.
Yeah.
Yes, despite JB having a little bit of a better strategy in the way he plays, but the connection there is more with Smith at the moment, especially for the middle players. Yeah, but I think also Nemo did not give us what we expected from them. They did not play their game, especially in the middle, and it goes back again to the connection. But they tried to push and get a win here because they didn't start very well, but they managed to come out well. But thank you so much, guys, all of you who have been out there watching. I know later on some more people are going to join us and watch this game again. And thank you so much again. I'm going to mention we have made it to more than 1K subscribers on YouTube. Thank you so much, all of you who have subscribed. Please continue to subscribe. The goal is to hit 100K subscribers. Please continue to subscribe. Encourage your friends. Bring in more people in volleyball. I think we need to bring in more people to learn the sport and understand it and grow it here.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the most upcoming sports that we are having in the country.
Yeah.
Yes.
Southern Africa, please do subscribe as well. Zambia, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Botswana, my peeps, please do subscribe. I'll ask Kasese to give me a cap for someone who subscribes. Is that correct? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Coach Memory, for
You're
doing
welcome.
this with
You're
me.
welcome.
It's always so interesting
To be
the
together with
analysis.
you. Yeah,
Yes, it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
impressive. And I think that is it. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. See you tomorrow here at NSAMBYA Sport S Grounds. Good night. Oh, before we go to sleep, I'm going to actually send out my thanks to the technical team. The efforts that are being put for you to be able to watch this game are so much. And thank you so much, technical team. Thank you so much, Sports Volleyball Club, for creating these facilities. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is it from me. Good night.